Thank you. So I'm at trapeze school, and I'm climbing. It's this rickety ladder. I go up like, 2-3 stories, and I meet the coach at the top, and he says, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a consultant. And what kind of consultant? Well, I'm in organizational health. He said, well, what's that mean? Right? So I reversed him. I said, well, do you like what you do? And he said, yes. And I said, well, who's responsible for that? And he kind of smiles. And as I wait for the bar, right, I'm looking down, and I see the reason why I'm there. And there's this little girl. And it's her 12th birthday. And she wanted to have her party at the trapeze school. And I'm her dad, right? So it's my responsibility to be there. And as I lean over the edge, I'm nervous, right? And kind of like right now. But I have to reach, right? When the bar comes, I have to reach. And then in a few moments after that, I have to let go. And so it is with leadership. And being intentional is when we see the sensible play, but we choose to prioritize people. Does anybody remember Ma from Golden Girls? Right? Ma used to start her stories in sort of the same way. So picture it, Dublin, 1995. And the Williams College men's soccer team has arrived to have its preseason. It's preseason, and of course, the first thing that happens is they report to the first pub they see, and it's sort of 18 guys, and so that means 18 pints of Guinness. And I don't know if anybody here likes Guinness, but it's a process, right? There's pulling and there's settling and there's more pulling and more settling, and so there's this elaborate thing that happens, and all these pints end up on this tray. And the guy comes over and he says, do you lads have ID? And this uproarious laughter is sort of going on in the background, and most of this is coming from the upperclassmen on the team. But one in particular, this guy Matt Stauffer, who's the captain of the team, and he's sort of the heart and soul, team's best player. And I think in that big brother, little brother relationship, you'd see some of the dynamics of the leadership that kind of characterize this special team. A few days after the team returned, we were in Williamstown, Massachusetts, getting ready for our preseason. And we get this news that Matt has been diagnosed with leukemia. And we didn't have text, we didn't have cell phone, we didn't have anything like that. So we go up there, we get this news, and we report to. And we've got to go play. One more. Coach Mike Russo won approximately 450 games as a college coach. And he won those games by being deliberate, by being planful, and accounting for all of the variables. He did not expect this. The 1995 season would be different. And in the chaos that ensued, Coach Russo would paint his leadership masterpiece. Empower. Coach recognized an opportunity. He recognized that the team were playing for Matt, and so he trusted them. He removed the fear, removed the hesitation, and just said, kind of get out there and play. And play they did. They won 13 games that year, no losses, one tie to their arch rival, Amherst. The gentleman on the right is Coach Tom Demio. Strengthen. Coach Tom was a guy who was a typical kind of Western Mass, blue-collar sort of guy. He drove this car. It was sorry, Coach, but it was the sorriest looking car. I don't know if it was a Yugo or what it was, but it was really sorry. And on the passenger seat, he had this tape player, if people remember what tapes were. And he would play the Olympic hymn on the way to training each day. And he knew full well that the players weren't Olympic athletes. But that didn't stop him from wanting to treat them as if they were. And if you had any problems with your confidence or your form or anything like that, Coach Tom was the guy that you would want to go and see. And he reminded you why you were there and why you were valuable and helpful to the team. Protect. The seniors on that team knew that they needed everybody on that team to perform at levels maybe higher than they believed that they were capable of. And those seniors really pushed. They really drove, sort of drove the point and made sure that guys were committed and that they were in and that they were playing without fear. They weren't worried about mistakes. They were just kind of playing and getting after that. They drove a sort of unconscious competence that those players would have characterized as competitive. And that allowed the team to reach the NCAA tournament and a very famous 3-0 win against the same Amherst rival that they'd tied just a few weeks earlier. In January of 2018, approximately 100 friends, family, former teammates gathered in Williamstown on the 20th anniversary of Matt's passing. There's a rock at the top of a hill overlooking the fields, and that rock is memorialized for Matt, and it says, "Run for yourself and run for your mates." And stories were told for well over an hour, and I think it was about -6 degrees, and I don't think anybody even noticed. What makes it special is that it wasn't a story that was told about how my teammates and I won the NCAA tournament. And what makes it cool is it's also not a story about how Matt was there with us that day to lift that famous wooden national championship trophy. In 1995, we felt like we were drafting a story about the championship that we would win for our friend. And in reality, we were telling just the earliest portions of the story of the intentional leaders that we would become because of our friend. As a coach, as a dad, and as a consultant, I'm lucky to have the opportunity to help and to advise my clients on becoming more intentional leaders. So here's the call to action. Leading is not about what it says on your door. It's not about what it says on your business card, about who told you to do what, about how smart you are, about how senior you are. It is about your ability to influence the circumstances that enable people to be better than they were and to be able to perform at higher levels than they thought they could. Leadership is a bit like being on the trapeze. You're a little bit uncomfortable, but you can get out of your comfort zone, and maybe you find that instead of the sensible play, you can make the people play. Great leaders understand that leadership is not just about reaching, but it's also about letting go.